Brentford winning at Wolves yesterday. Ivan Toney scoring again. Graham Hill at the game for the Sun. He says Ivan Toney is the man right now. A message he carries with him wherever he goes. You can never write off the Brentford striker these days. After a largely subdued display, Toney appeared from nowhere to seal a clinical Brentford victory. And Thomas Frank said the player had been suffering from illness ahead of the game, but he was still able to grab his third goal in 4 games since his return, and any doubts that he may have been suffering a blip disappeared immediately. And Toney says his inspiration is not far away. He says, I have a tattoo on my hand which says him. I like to think I'm the man sometimes when I'm on the pitch, and when you think you're the man, you put in a him performance, and then I got on the score sheet.
Is that what it was? Because I didn't know what that tattoo meant. Right, okay.
Well, now you do. I mean, he's got enough of them, hasn't he? He's got plenty of tattoos. But back scoring, big win for Brentford, 3 goals in 4 games. Did either of you think that he will kind of settle in and get back to looking pretty sharp and playing so well so quickly after such a long time out?
Well, I am surprised he's hit the ground running. I mean, Brentford would be delighted that he's played a part so quickly, because Thomas Frank would have been concerned about the Ivan Toney that he had previously, and yes, all the practice games and all the training. Once you cross that white line, what he'd be like. And he has made... I think there's one thing that Ivan Toney's got, and it's a special ability, is that he's got an inner belief in himself. And with that, he carries the team, because he can make a difference when need be.
I think what's also interesting, and talking about hitting the ground running, not only has he obviously had a lot of time out of football, but also he's come into a side that's a very different forward line to what he's used to played with, which was Johan Wieser on the left, you've got Brian and Burma on the right. Sometimes it would be a 2 up front, if you like. But he's obviously having to, start a new partnership with Neil Maupay.
Both, by the way, have not played.
No,
Neil Maupay wasn't playing. So they've had 2 centre forwards who've not been playing football.
Yeah, exactly.
Back.
And yet they've clicked really well together, and I think that's been brilliant. And you could obviously say that Thomas Frank has been key to that. It's interesting. He did an interview after the game yesterday where someone was asking him the question along the lines of, your manager has spoken about selling you in the summer. That means you've probably got a good few months ahead of you to try and earn that move. And what do you make of it? And his comment was, first thing he said was, well, it sounds as though the manager doesn't want me. And then he laughed. Problem is, a lot of people have jumped on that, saying how disrespectful it is of Ivan Toney, which I don't really understand. Listen, I know he's said things in the past that's been caught on social media, and he hasn't looked great as a result of that. But that one interview, it quite clearly is a joke. And yet people are very quick to jump on him.
Were you I agree with that. I think that's trying to have a laugh. But do you think in the days building up to his return, the Forest game, I remember he gave an interview to Sky Sports' Patrick Davidson. Yeah. And Pat was kind of like, obviously you want to focus now on Brentford. It was still in the January window. You want to focus on Brentford. He wasn't even trying to get Toney to say he was quite looking forward to playing football. And Toney then kind of off his own back went, well, you never know. It's January. These things can happen. And I remember I was at that Brentford Forest game when he returned, and speaking to a few fans on the way in, they were like, yeah, we're happy he's back, of course, but there was a little bit of disappointment as well that after such a long wait, we're so excited this guy's coming back. And it felt like he gave a few interviews where he was sort of going out of his way to talk about a move away, or am I being a bit harsh there, Nat, do you think?
No, I know what you mean. Of course, look, as a Brentford fan, you don't want to ever hear about players wanting to move on and making it so obvious they want to move on. But I do think Ivan Toney is just a different type of player. He's unique in that sense. He believes in himself, like you've already alluded to there, Cass. He probably, and he deserves actually a chance to play at a high level, to see whether or not he can make it at a high level. And look, we're not, as Brentford fans, I've been a supporter of this club since the 80s. I've been there through the League 2 days when we felt at one stage we could even bow out of the Football League, how bad it was. So I kind of know that we are a stepping stone club. We are just that. That is what we are right now. I'd love to us to get to a point when we're not, but that's a long way off still. So I think that's one of the attractions for Brentford as well for a lot of players, is that they can come to us, and if you do well, you may well earn that big move that you're looking for. So I don't listen. I think he could have handled things a bit better. He could have said things a bit better. He probably could have bigged up Brentford a bit more in terms of what he could do for the club in the next few months. But he's doing his talking on the pitch. That's all that we can ask.
Yeah, car park for Heath Road.
Weekend Sports Breakfast with Natalie Sawyer and Tony Cascarino. Sunday mornings from 6 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.